Hello everybody, welcome back in my shed. I'm BC. Big announcement today, 900 subscribers. That's been a drag for the last year and a bit, and I don't know whether the content is what you really want, but to get 900, that's a magic number to me. At 1,000 I'll lash out for some new equipment and make even better videos for you. First up, I really don't know what you want as content. You'll have to tell me. Put it in the comments if you want to see something specific and I'm able to do it. I'll grant you we should make the video about that. So today will just be, once again, 900 subscribers. I'll look at some of the machines, some of the things I do and why the machine features are like that, and a few little tips about not being dangerous with tool and cutter grinders. I've had a few crashes here that I've survived, thank God. It's so easy to have wheels destroyed and you along with it. Okay, I'll get out of the picture and put it onto the machines. Bye for now. Rightio, here we have a shot of my homemade 4-facet drill grinder for larger drills. I've got a machine that goes up to 25mm, so that makes it easy, and a few attachments. But when you start to get the bigger drills, it's more and more difficult to get them equal angle and equal facet. So homemade jobby, I'll zoom in a little bit. Only a few hours working this. Okay, it's just a bracket with a pivot point of a bolt, bit of angle line welded up to the top of it, a piece of rod with a V machined on the bottom as a stopper, and the ingenious part is at the front where I index. Zoom in a little more. Okay, there's a piece of brass bar with a screw from the bottom, and I've also put a longitudinal slot there. Up to about 1.5 inch drills, I put the brass bar where it is. It holds the position of the drill by the drill flute, and that allows you to get the edge being ground as horizontal as possible, and I use a little level on top of that to check it. When you get to larger drills, I put the brass button in this slot here and I can manoeuvre it along to get in position on the flute with that cutting edge horizontal. Quite easy to build. I have seen this copied by one of my viewers, and he improved it by putting the pivot point substantially further back on the body to get more protrusion at the front. I'll disagree with that method for two reasons. One, as it's built here, all the grinding force is distributed straight down to the table, so the likelihood of getting any chatter is nil, and it also keeps the mechanism away from the wheel a little bit. Now, the second reason I prefer it like this, if you're grinding a 4-facet drill, you're going to be changing the angle of the body substantially by about 25 degrees. That changes your position at the front of the drill substantially, and you have to readjust the wheel height if you're using radial clearance in behind it. So keep it up front for those two reasons and it'll operate a lot better. I would say overall 2.5 hours, and it's really well spent time. That was one I made myself. I'll now show you the first drill grinder attachment I had. This was sent over to me from New Zealand, made by a bloke called Jack Tyson when I was selling zero angle drill grinding information. Just a bracket that fits onto your bench grinder tool rest. The rear V can be moved up and down the rod to allow for longer drills. That sets up to the correct angle, and well, you can get a rough grind out of it. But if you want to make one of those yourself, it's possibly the best value for money ever. And it'll grind up to about 20mm drills with ease and give you at least equal facets. You'll have to use a drill gauge to check it, but I say it's good value for money. Okay, I'll swing around to another drill grinding attachment. Now, to back up my opinion, this is the drill grinding attachment that came with my Servian tool and cutter grinder, and you can see that the pivot point, or where the force is distributed to the attachment, is almost directly below the tip of the drill being ground. So that validates my opinion of mounting it close to the front. Okay, go out to the wheelie now. Here's the Brearley drill grinder, and I've got the setting gauge pushed out to the drill lip, and the drill lip comes down to a little step in the side of the setting gauge. Now that shows you how short an extension you really need outside the front of the chuck. Hanging out by a large amount is not good, and it's graduated off in 1/16 of an inch, so you change the extension of the drill out to the larger sizes. Okay, off to another grinder. This is the Royal Oak Form Relief Grinder. There was another video on YouTube a couple of weeks ago showing a drill being ground in a similar attachment, and the drill was extended like that. Now it did work and the drill did get ground, but that doesn't give you a good finish. The drill will chatter like hell and it can end up being a little bit dangerous. So what I suggest, even if you're using an actual relief grinder like this, is sort of assist your chuck on it, and that allows you to hold the drill right up on the flutes. Reasonably good. Put it back about there. You'll get a much more accurate grind, you'll get no chatter, and the job will be a heck of a lot safer. Okay, bye for now. Here we have some grinding wheel dressers. The unit on the right is the dresser came with the Servian tool and cutter grinder. It has a single point diamond, half carat item in there. It's adjustable for height and radially. Quite a good dresser, although I've got that tool and cutter grinder set up with a riser block on the table and does give a little bit of chatter. You've got to dress quite lightly. Next to it is one that was given to me that could be used on a surface grinder for dressing the wheel back. Always make sure you put it on the lagging side of the wheel, not the leading side. Otherwise you can jam the dresser and cause a big explosion. And grinding wheels are very, very dangerous when they go bang. And just to the left, this is what Norton call a DS1 dressing stick. It's silicon carbide grains, I think swept off the floor. Very low quality, but very hard grain. And you use the end of that to dress aluminium oxide grinding wheels. It doesn't get the same open structure as the diamond, but when you're grinding 1/8 drills, you don't want an open structure. Just choose the end of the drill away too bloody quick. The dressing stick, I find, levels the grain off so the wheel is less aggressive and gives a beautiful smooth finish. It's always also very, very quick. Just pick it up, quick dress, and away you go. But whatever you do, don't drop it or you'll have 10 smaller dressing sticks. Okay, move you to the next machine. Back to my old friend the Rongfu tool and cutter grinder. A little bit more explanation about indexing. All of the articles that I've read on grinding high-speed steel tools say that the direction of the wheel should be down onto the cutting edge or grinding onto the edge. That way you don't create a burr. If you grind the other way around and have it trailing back towards the edge, you can create a wire burr along the edge that will break away and it leaves what's called a fritted edge, which gives you high wear. Now, this is a bit of a problem when indexing because you have to hold the cutter back against the stop. Now, with little cutters like this, there's not much force required. If you do, however, fall asleep and allow the cutter to rotate with the drag of the wheel, because the wheel is tilted back at 11 degrees to give you clearance behind the cutting edge, or 12 degrees, it'll allow the cutter to move further into the wheel. And I have been half asleep a couple of times, and it's a great big shit shower of grain everywhere, and also you destroy the customer's cutter and have to take about 3 or 4 mils off. If you've got a bigger machine like an old Cincinnati that's a little bit more rigid, you would possibly finish up with a grinding wheel in 50 pieces and maybe one little bit right in your head. Now, when you can get into trouble with this sort of work is moving from one customer's cutter to another. If you can appreciate the torque on that cutter is dwarfed by this cutter. And when you put something that big in there, you go from 2 or 3 inch-pounds to 20 inch-pounds of torque, and it takes a lot more to control it. So moving from one cutter size to the other, you've got to keep your wits about you, as you do with any rotating machinery. Once again, I'll say that this indicator finger is just an old jigsaw blade that's been reground. It gives you the flexibility you need to go over and the rigidity to hold it fairly well in place. You've got to be reasonably even with your feed pressure because there's still a little bit of flex there and you don't want to have different positions with different teeth heights. The tool won't cut very good. But be very careful with your positioning, and with all of these cutters, don't try and take 15th hour in one cut. You'll overheat the cutter, you'll make the wheel glaze over very, very quickly. These machines in this sort of job are only designed to take 2 thou, maybe 3 at a time. And when you're on a more rigid machine like a surface grinder, only try and take about 1 thou to 1 thou and a half per pass. I have seen Don Bailey from Suburban Tool do a demonstration on creep feed grinding where he took about 25 thou in one pass, but he was only side feeding about 2 thou per pass, and the man's an expert at it. He made it look so easy, but creep feed grinding is something that I would keep well and truly away from because it'd be too easy for me to bloody crash it. Okay, that's it for now. 900 subscribes make me feel happy. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done already, and let me know what you want in the videos. Bye for now.